It's going.
Okay. I'm Mr. Baker, by the way.
I'm Mr. Ruger.
We
You guys
are
know
the
that.
Common Core 2 math teachers.
The newbies.
Some of them.
First
the noobs.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up. Okay.
Just like you, ninth graders.
Correct. Now,
Sorry, I'll stop.
that being said, we are going to try to do some tutorial stuff, maybe make some videos, to start helping you guys out. Maybe get an extra study guide. I do look like the guy from Big Bang Theory, by the way, for those of you guys who don't have me. Those guys who do have me, you know that already. Mr. Hofstadter is my alter ego. But these videos are going to be something that we'll be playing around with. Tutorials, guides, notes, examples worked out that you can view on your own. For those of you who've missed work, you can look at this, or also just need some extra study help. Here you go. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and start some review for tomorrow's quiz, working out some of the functions that we've talked about all the way back to quadratics, and then segueing to the new stuff that we just started talking about this past week.
Very good. Okay, CCM2 honors. Review for the quiz, Mr. Baker, Mr. Ruger. First slide. What will be on the quiz? Absolute value, cube root and cubed, square root and squared, inverse variation, greatest integer function, and the transformations thereof. This is important. We're moving things along. Left, right, up, down, stretch, string, and reflection. Very important. Don't learn, going to fail. Next one. Absolute value. It has an AOS. What does AOS stand for? You need to know that. Look in your notes. X equals H, absolute value. They are V-shaped. V for victory. V for...
Mother Russia or something. I don't know.
Yes.
Something
Why-
along those lines.
Y equals, this is your parent function. This is what it looks like, okay? It has a vertex HK. Remember HK, we changed the sign of the negative, making it H in K. A gives you slope, slope being up, down, left, right, rise over run, you've heard that before, of the right-hand side. Please remember, to find left-hand side, it is simple reflection. So if you go up, right, you go up, left, okay? Next one. Hey, remember, there are equations. The equations thereof. Y equals, this is your absolute. Here is your your cube root function, your square root function. This is your fun one. This is your hyperbola, also known as your inverse variation. And finally, your greatest integer function. Continued. If I have absolute value, y equals 2/3. Remember, 2/3 is a proper fraction. It does something in particular when it's proper. Absolute value of x minus 1 plus 3. HK is 1, 3. That's our vertex. V for vertex. And we go up 2 to the right 3. And then we go up 2 to the left 3. Okay? Okay. Next one.
It's that easy.
It's
Yes.
that easy, yes. Continue. Cube root function. We go to cube root and cube function. No domain restriction, because you can take the cube root of a negative and you can take a negative and cube it. It also has no range restriction. Always all real numbers. Please remember, it's the 11 with the R. Please remember. Cube, although that looks a little bit like a W, it's a C and a U. That's cube root. Is A cube root x minus h plus k. Cubic is A times quantity x minus h to the third plus k. Cube root and cubes. Here's parent function. Here's what parent function looks like. Here is parent function. Once again, here remember is parent function. It's important to remember. These are inverses.
Yes.
Yes. Cube roots. Here's 1. 2 times the cube root of x minus 1 minus 2. And it looks like so. Well, we move it to the right 1 and we move it down 2. So there's our starting point. Cubic function. We have 1/2 quantity x plus 1 cubed plus 2. So we move to the left 1 up 2. Connect dots. And remember, since it's half, it's going to be different than your normal one. How is it different? You need to make sure you know that. that says squares, not squarest. It says squares, I
Yes,
promise.
those are
Quadratics
S.
and square roots. Quadratics, you remember these? Standard form, vertex form. Here is standard form for square root function. Has a domain restriction. It's important to remember that. Dependent on sign of h and k. Okay? And has a restricted range. Quadratic function, axis of symmetry, once again, we find the x-coordinate of the vertex with opposite b over 2a. And the square root, once again, looks like this. We can't go down to the bottom for two reasons. We can't take square root of negative, plus it would not satisfy the vertical line test. Quadratic review. Look, smiley face, frowny face. Ha 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 ha. Very funny. Good one, Mr. Baker. F of x is a times quantity x minus h squared plus k. Example, we have a 3. 3 meaning that it does what? We should say narrower, or we could say stretch. Either way, it's your call. Minus 2 means I go to the right 2, and then I go up 1. There's my point. There's my stretch. It looks gorgeous. Square root function. We have a 3, which means it's going to increase bigger, meaning that I'm going to have a steeper arc. I move to the right 2, I move down 1, and there's my starting point. Left 2, down 1, starting point. Remember, don't keep going since you can't take the square root of a negative. We really can't stress that enough. Inverse variation. Hyperbola. Yes. Remember, we have vertical and horizontal asymptote. No, that's not a bad word. That means line which cannot be crossed. And the square root of k is the distance from said asymptote. Hyperbola. Plus 3 plus 4 means I move to the left. This is my vertical asymptote. And y equals 4, here's my horizontal asymptote. Color-coded, everything looks great. Make sure you tip your teachers. They're great. Greatest integer function. This is not continuous because it jumps. Remember about continuity. If you forgot about continuity, play this section over again. A is the height, B is the length. We find the length by 1 over B, and our starting point is hk. Notice the open circles. If they're not open, it's not a function. Then we couldn't say greatest integer function. We'd have to say greatest integer something that's not a function. It is a step function. Hey, a is positive, so it goes up as it goes to the right. Y equals 3 times quantity x minus 4 plus 2. This gives me h equals 4, k equals 2. We move to our starting point, which is 4, 2. And remember, Mr. Baker does look like that dude from the Big Bang Theory. What we need to do now, you need to study, turn up,
Yes. Turn up.
and good luck. Ha ha. Have a good one.